Yes, sir. Okay, so now I am requesting CEO sir to kindly start this session, please. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Rohit. Thank you so much. It is indeed my pleasure to welcome today's speaker, Dr. Nouni. He has been a dear colleague in MNRE with me. Nouni sir, we as Skill Council for Green Jobs, as an activity of Azadi ke Amrit Mahotsav, we have been organizing 1 hour webinar every Friday. So this is probably the 92nd PB?
Yes, sir.
92nd webinar, and we intend to continue up to 100, even though the period of is over on 15th of August, but we would like to continue our series to complete 100 webinars, and maybe the 100th webinar would have a special attraction depending on the most important subject. We will try to call a couple of speakers in that webinar. And the most interesting part of this webinar is that we have created a separate site where all these videos are available for the viewers or the students to look at. So we have seen a lot of people visiting that site and seeing what kind of speakers are there and what kind of speeches are there. So that is one important thing with us. And second thing is that we do publish in our newsletter the extracts of all the speeches being done. So for example, my PB Singh would request you to give a small write-up as to what did you speak, and it would be published in our next newsletter. So a couple of permissions from you that your recording would be useful for others, and second, your speech would be also published. A part of the extract of speech would be published. So
I will provide the necessary write-up.
Thank you so much. And with this, lot of viewers have joined. So I would request Mr. PB Singh to formally welcome today's speaker and start the session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, CEO sir, for welcoming the speaker and other participants. Good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you all to the 92 series of the webinar. Skill Council for Green Job is organizing a series of webinars to celebrate Azadi ka Amrit Mahotsav as a part of India's celebration of 75 years of independence. In this series, SCGJ is inviting eminent and learned speakers in different sectors on sustainable development, renewable energy, and waste management, so as to deepen the understanding of recent development in these sectors. The first in the series was launched on 24 September 2021. Today we have Dr. Mr. Nouni, a very experienced, learned, distinguished speaker who will be sharing his expertise and experience on green hydrogen opportunity and challenges. I would like to share her brief profile with all of you. Dr. Nouni graduated mechanical engineer from Delhi College of Engineering and acquired his MTech and PhD degree from IIT Delhi. Dr. Nouni has been associated with the power and renewable energy sectors for nearly 4 decades. He worked at the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, Government of India in different capacities for about 3 decades and was involved in policy formulation and implementation of research, development, and demonstration programs of the MNRE. During the last 2 decades, his efforts were mainly focused on activity related to development of hydrogen energy at MNRE and National Institute of Solar Energy and Autonomous Institute of MNRE. At MNRE, he was actively involved in preparation of the National Hydrogen Energy Roadmap 2006 and the report of the steering group on hydrogen energy and fuel cell in 2016. After his superannuation as advisor from MNRE in 2016, he worked as a senior consultant at NICE for 6 years and was associated with projects related to hydrogen energy and solar thermal at the institute. Earlier, he had worked at Bharat Heavy Electrical Limited in their thermal power business group in 1980s. His research work related to techno-economics of renewable and hydrogen energy and energy policy has been published in peer-reviewed international journals. Now I'm requesting Dr. M.R. Nouni to start the presentation. Over to you, Dr. Nouni.
Thank you, Mr. Singh, for that nice introduction. I am really thankful to Skill Council for Green Jobs and particularly Dr. Praveen Saxena, who has been a very dear and esteemed colleague of mine at MNRE, Dr. Praveen Dhamija, who asked me to spare some time for giving one webinar. Hydrogen has been getting a lot of attention during last couple of years, and having associated with hydrogen energy, I thought that I'll share my views about hydrogen energy, and particularly what are the challenges associated with hydrogen energy, and in particular green hydrogen. So my talk or my presentation would be focused on some issues related to hydrogen energy, and then the opportunities and challenges related to green hydrogen. So the contents of the presentation would be: what are the drivers of green hydrogen? What is the definition of green hydrogen? A global hydrogen scenario, demand and strategies, hydrogen storage, transportation and delivery, hydrogen applications, green hydrogen opportunities in India, and green hydrogen, what are the different challenges? So first, I'll discuss about green hydrogen drivers. This is an interesting slide. And in this slide, in this quadrant, we have countries like India, South Africa, Poland, China. And on x-axis, we have carbon dioxide intensity in gram of CO2 per kilowatt hour. And on y-axis, we have cost of electricity. So these countries, the CO2 intensity is high because these countries are heavily dependent on coal so far as their electricity generation is concerned. When we come to this particular quadrant, we have countries like France, Brazil, and Venezuela and Kenya. France is heavily dependent on nuclear energy. Brazil is dependent on hydro as well as renewable energy. So in this case, we have lower CO2 intensity as well as lower cost of electricity. When we go to this quadrant, here we have countries like Germany, Italy, UK, Denmark, Spain, etc. And here, for these countries, the CO2 intensity is comparatively in between the two set of countries, and their cost of electricity is high. The reason being that these countries have opted to decarbonize their electricity sector by making a switch to renewable energy. And as a result of that, not only the CO2 intensity has come down, but because of the increased penetration of renewable energy, the cost of electricity has gone up. There are associated challenges like having storage, and then in many cases there are challenges like sometime there is generation from renewable energy power generating systems, but grid is not in a position to accept that. So in this context, how it makes some kind of a connection with hydrogen energy, I'll explain in this particular slide. In view of the grave concern relating to greenhouse gas emissions and climate change that is being caused by growing energy demand, and that is still being met largely by our reliance on fossil fuels. And in the recent conflict between Russia and Ukraine, European countries and other countries, they have witnessed the unpredictable nature of the international prices of liquid and gaseous fossil fuels. This kind of a situation the international world has faced even earlier. So this is prompting the countries to really think seriously about the energy security issues. And as a result of that, the countries are shifting away from the fossil fuels and they are putting increasing emphasis on renewables. Once the penetration of renewable increases in any energy system, the need for energy storage for balancing the grid becomes very, very important. And as I mentioned, there is a curtailment issue with renewable power. In that context, hydrogen becomes highly relevant because the curtailed power can be utilized for generating hydrogen, which can be used subsequently when there is a shortfall or reduced generation from renewable energy based system. And last but not the least, hydrogen is a versatile energy carrier, and its conversion to other derivatives like ammonia, methanol, etc. is equally attractive. See, I mentioned that there is a lot of hype and everybody also realizes that. But this similar kind of a hype was witnessed about 2 decades back. And at that time, US had come up with their national hydrogen energy roadmap. And President George Bush, in his union address in January 2003, he said that with a new national commitment, our scientists and engineers will overcome obstacles to taking these hydrogen fuel cell cars from laboratory to showroom, so that the first car driven by a child born today could be powered by hydrogen and pollution free. So that kind of a push was given to hydrogen energy and fuel cell related activities by the US at that time. And on the initiative of the United States, International Partnership for Hydrogen Economy that came into existence to foster international cooperation on hydrogen energy and fuel cells. Later on, its name was changed to International Partnership for Hydrogen and Fuel Cells in the Economy in 2009. India also came up with National Hydrogen Energy Roadmap, which was approved in 2006. It was a industry and other stakeholders and academic institutions all were put on board while making this document. And this document had clearly laid down the pathway up to 2020. And it had set very ambitious targets, 1,000 megawatt of electricity generation based on hydrogen energy and 1 million hydrogen fueled vehicles by 2020 on the roads. But somehow the hype which was there, that evaporated. We didn't see much action on the ground. And what really went wrong? In my opinion, the focus was too much on fuel cell electric vehicles, and other sectors of economy were not given that kind of importance. So because of lack of interest from all stakeholders, the initiatives, the efforts which were undertaken nearly 2 decades back, that really did not yield much fruits. In a recent statement, the executive director of International Energy Agency, he cautioned that green hydrogen needs time rather than hype. So maybe that it may not come immediately tomorrow or day after, but certainly it will come. How soon that is going to happen? And let us hope that it happens quickly. So now I'll try to share my thoughts about definition of green hydrogen. There is no universally agreed definition as yet because there is no international green hydrogen standards. Some international organizations like IEA, etc., IRENA, etc., they do not associate any colors with hydrogen. Instead, they use a term called low carbon hydrogen for green hydrogen. Definition is under development, and that definition would focus mainly on production of hydrogen through renewable pathways, and it will also have associated CO2 emission figures so that it qualifies for the definition of green hydrogen. One of the proposed definition is that green hydrogen is hydrogen produced through electrolysis of water with 100% or near 100% renewable energy with close to zero greenhouse gas emissions. It should be less than or equal to 1 kg of CO2 equivalent per kg of hydrogen. But this is only a proposed definition for international trade, etc. We have taken a lead so far as India is concerned, and we have come with the green hydrogen standard for India recently. And it defines what is green hydrogen. And it says that 2 pathways have been broadly mentioned for green hydrogen in the context of India. 1, production through electrolysis or conversion through biomass. For this purpose, renewable energy, which is stored or which is banked, that will also be considered as per the applicable regulations. And a figure of 2 kg of, a figure of 2 kg of CO2 equivalent of per kg of hydrogen produced, taking into account average for last 12 months, has been fixed both for green hydrogen produced through electrolysis as well as green hydrogen produced through biomass conversion, and the processes which will be taken into consideration for the purpose of determining this particular value have also been indicated. And Bureau of Energy Efficiency has been identified as a nodal agency for this purpose. They will come up with a detailed documents with regard to how to arrive at this figure of 2 kg of CO2 equivalent per kg of hydrogen. So let us wait for that document to be published by Bureau of Energy Efficiency. Then it will provide more clarity Still, there are some people who are of the view that there is some kind of a vagueness so far as CO2 emissions values that have been indicated in the present green hydrogen standard. Now, global hydrogen scenario and demand and strategy I will mention. In 2021, the total global hydrogen demand was estimated as 94 million ton, and 70 million ton was pure hydrogen, and 24 million ton of hydrogen was with carbon containing gases, which are produced as syngas for methanol production or for steel making. Out of this 94 million ton, 40 million ton was used in refineries, 34 million ton in ammonia synthesis, 15 million ton in methanol production, and balance in steel making. Almost the entire 94 million ton of hydrogen was produced through fossil fuels. About 62% of it was produced using natural gas without carbon capture and utilization and storage. 19% was produced using coal, and it was mainly in China. 18% was used as a byproduct in refineries using naphtha refining. Low emission hydrogen, which is basically from fossil fuel with carbon capture, utilization and storage, its share was less than 1 million ton. And electrolytic hydrogen production is really very low. It was only 34 kiloton during 2021. The value went up slightly in 2022. So far as outlook for 2030, which would give some kind of an indication that what kind of opportunities at the global level exist for hydrogen. The total hydrogen demand by IEA has been projected as 180 million ton in 2030. And of that, it is projected that low emission hydrogen production capacity would be about 24 million ton, and 14 million ton of this 24 million ton is expected to come from electrolytic route, and 10 million ton from fossil fuel based hydrogen production processes with carbon capture, utilization and storage. So far as electrolytic hydrogen is concerned, the main hubs would be Europe with 5 million ton, Australia 3 million ton, Southern America, Middle East and Northern America with about 4 million ton. And second route with fossil fuel based low emission hydrogen, the hubs would be in Europe and Northern America. So far as the situation is concerned, more than 32 countries, they have announced their hydrogen strategies. And I have listed here the name of the countries who have brought out their strategies. And these strategies, basically, they announce some kind of an indication about the broad targets with regard to hydrogen production. For example, India has indicated 5 million ton per year by 2030. Similarly, Canada, 4 million ton, Japan and South Korea also. And deployment of electrolyzers, Chile has suggested that they will have 25 gigawatt, China 80 gigawatt by 2030, European Union 40 gigawatt. Deployment of fuel cell vehicles, Japan has indicated that they will have 800,000 fuel cell vehicles. South Korea has indicated that they will have 2.9 million, and France and Netherlands, etc., Other thing which they have indicated in the strategy is deployment of hydrogen refueling system. Different countries have indicated different targets. Japan and South Korea, they seem to be very, very aggressive on this particular front. Hydrogen production processes using electrolysis powered by renewable and from fossil fuel with carbon capture, utilization and storage. Different countries, they have indicated their strategies. For example, Australia, they have indicated that they will go for electrolysis and using coal and natural gas with carbon capture and utilization. So both the option, that is electrolysis as well as carbon capture, utilization and storage through fossil fuel route, these are being indicated as the preferred options for hydrogen production. Then what kind of applications the green hydrogen or low carbon hydrogen would be utilized, that have been indicated by the different countries. I will briefly touch upon now hydrogen production, storage, and transportation and delivery. In a nutshell, hydrogen can be produced from fossil fuels as well as renewable energy resources through different processes. I believe some webinars have already been organized on hydrogen energy related topic. So I presume that these aspects would have been covered in those webinars. So I'll just give a gist of that. Presently, hydrogen produced from renewable energy sources is called green hydrogen. And electrolyzer is going to be a critical technology for production of low carbon hydrogen. And among different electrolyzer technologies, alkaline electrolyzer is most mature, most durable, and less expensive technology compared to other electrolyzers. PM electrolyzer is attractive from the viewpoints of its suitability with variable renewable energy, quick start, and lower footprint. Biomass gasification and biohydrogen production, they also make some kind of a case for low carbon hydrogen production, especially keeping in view that they will also take care of the disposal of agro waste. Hydrogen storage, what are the issues involved? Storage of hydrogen is really complex compared to conventional fuels, as the molecule of hydrogen is not only the smallest, but it is the lightest. And it has got low volumetric energy density, and hydrogen is a gas under ambient conditions. Therefore, really controlling it, taming it, preserving it is going to be a challenge who are involved with hydrogen. And for improving the energy density and storability of hydrogen, it needs to be converted to other substances like methanol, ammonia, etc. What are the different ways in which hydrogen can be stored? One is physical based, where the three options are compressed gas, cold cryo compressed, liquid hydrogen. And then other route is material based, where adsorbent like metal organic framework, liquid organic hydrides like methyl cyclohexane, methyl cyclopentane, interstitial hydride like lanthanum nickel hydride, complex hydrides like sodium alanates, chemical hydrides like boranes, etc. These are the options that are available for hydrogen storage. For physical storage of hydrogen, if we need higher storage capacity with lightweight, then fiber composite pressure vessels, these are preferred, and their hydrogen can be stored at 200 to 1000 bar pressure. If we need the large quantity of hydrogen, which needs to be transported over longer distances with high gravimetric storage performance, then hydrogen needs to be liquefied at a temperature of -253 degrees Celsius. And in 2022, cryogenic hydrogen was shifted from Australia to Japan. This hydrogen was gray hydrogen, but the feasibility has been already looked into, and the actual ship has taken delivery from Australia to Japan. Cryo-compressed form is a combination of compressed and cryogenic form of storage, where hydrogen is not only liquefied, but then it is stored at a high pressure, that is as high as 300 bar, to achieve higher gravimetric volumetric performance. This I thought that I will discuss hydrogen cylinders for hydrogen storage. There are 4 different types of hydrogen cylinders. What is type 1, type 2, type 3, and type 4? The nomenclatures the people who are in the business of hydrogen, they would have heard of. Type 1 is basically all metal cylinder, and the metal that is used for making is stainless steel or aluminum. It is cheap to produce, but it is heavy. So here we can visualize it, and here also. In type 2, an additional layer of carbon fiber reinforcement is done, like it is done here, and we can see here in this case. This makes slightly the cylinder stronger. It is able to withstand higher pressure, but cylinder becomes more expensive. Type 3, carbon fiber composite vessel with SS or aluminum vessel inside. So the liner inside is SS or aluminum, but it is thinner compared to type 2 or type 1. And the composite layer is throughout the cylinder, not up to this point as in the type 2. And type 4, here we don't have a metal liner. It is all synthetic. So outside there is a carbon fiber. Inside there is a polyamide or polyethylene plastic liner. So it is not only a very light, but it is able to withstand very high pressure. But at the same time, it is very expensive. And normally, both type 3 and type 4 cylinders are used for onboard storage of hydrogen in the hydrogen-fueled vehicles. The Toyota Mirai and Hyundai Nexo, they use type 4 cylinders because there is a space constraint. They need to store more hydrogen. In the case of buses, where the cylinders are put on the roof of the bus, type 3 cylinder can also be used. For hydrogen transportation and delivery, pipeline is the most, it should be most preferred route, but the infrastructure that needs to be created, that will call for heavy investment. So in case pipeline is considered as something where investment is on the higher side, then the tube trailers can be used for transporting hydrogen from one place to another place. And here gaseous hydrogen is compressed at 500 bar, and one trailer can carry, if steel cylinders are used, up to 380 kgs and 600 to 9 kgs if composite material cylinders are used. So these are long cylinders which are stacked one above the above. In case the hydrogen needs to be transported to a longer distance, then the more economical method would be carrying liquid hydrogen. And here the hydrogen is again liquefied at -253 degrees Celsius. And it is a super insulated tanker, which is used for transporting hydrogen from one place to another place. Now, I will briefly discuss about hydrogen applications. In industry, ammonia synthesis, petrol refineries, iron and steel, food processing, petrochemical, synthetic fuel production, float glass, semiconductor, all these industries, they use hydrogen for different applications. I will not go into the details what for these are used because of the paucity of time. So far as transport is concerned, they can use internal combustion engine as well as fuel cell in the surface transport vehicles. These are also being considered for ships and other applications like in the aviation sector. In the power sector, it is being considered as a promising medium for storage with variable solar and wind power. Then for grid and off-grid power generation, hydrogen can be used in IC, fuel cells, and gas turbines. And hydrogen is also used for cooling of generators. In the household sector, building sector, this can be used for heating, cooling, and cooking purposes. So it's a versatile kind of a energy carrier, which has got application in all the sectors. This is slightly old data, 1 year old data. At that time, nearly 60,000 fuel cell electric vehicles were there on the roads, of which 50,000 were cars, 5,000 buses, and 5,000 commercial vehicles. And the leading countries in terms of deployment were Korea with 23,000, USA 14,000, followed by China 9,000, and Japan 5,000. So far as fuel cell buses and trucks are concerned, China is the leading country. And for providing hydrogen to these vehicles, about 1,070 hydrogen refueling stations were put up for providing hydrogen. One of the low-hanging fruit where hydrogen could be used and where there would be immediate requirement of hydrogen is hydrogen blending with natural gas. So in this schematic, renewable energy is used for producing hydrogen. This electricity can also be fed to the grid. Then hydrogen can be used in two ways. Either hydrogen can be directly fed into the grid, the gas grid, or carbon dioxide can be captured either from the stack of the industry or from the air. And then hydrogen can react with this carbon dioxide catalytically to produce synthetic methane. So this synthetic methane, hydrogen, and normal natural gas, these all can be blended to natural gas infrastructure. So this is a promising area where we don't need any kind of a infrastructure for transporting, etc. This, in my opinion, would be the area where hydrogen can be immediately utilized. Up to 5% blending by volume should not be any issue so far as material compatibility is concerned. And countries are contemplating to go up to 20% blending of hydrogen by volume with natural gas. Next, I'll come to green hydrogen opportunities in India. In a study which was carried out by NICE, we estimated that the hydrogen production capacity as of 1st April 2020, this value would have slightly gone up by some 10%, was 6.34 million ton, of which 2.84 million ton was in the refineries and 3.38 million ton was for ammonia synthesis, followed by 0.11 million ton in chlor-alkali units, and some merchant gas companies who are in the business of providing gases, they were 0.0011 million ton. And the major demand was in the petroleum refineries, ammonia synthesis, chlor-alkali units, merchant hydrogen, space applications, float glass, thermal power plants, hydrogen peroxide production, and methanol production. In addition to that, India imports nearly 10 million tons of urea, 5 million ton of DAP, which is another fertilizer, and 3 million tons of ammonia each year. And Government of India is planning to have complete replacement of ammonia-based fertilizer imports by 2034-35. So if these imports are to be replaced by green hydrogen, then there will be additional requirement of about 1.75 million ton of green hydrogen by 2035. So total estimated green hydrogen requirement, excluding the requirement for green steel, could go anywhere more than 8 million ton. So this is the kind of a opportunity that exists for hydrogen in India. Now I will come to the last part of my presentation where I'll discuss about the challenges. So while discussing this aspect, let us dwell upon what are the resources that are required for production of green hydrogen. Here is a simple schematic. We use renewable power. So that is rectified, and then in electrolyzer, we produce hydrogen. So one thing is that we need renewable energy resource. Then we need technology for harnessing resource, that is PV system or wind electric generator or other. Then we need appropriate electrolyzer technology. We need water. We need land for installation of solar and wind systems. Then precious metals are needed for construction of some electrolyzer. Then infrastructure for storage, transportation, and distribution, and user awareness. Here, this is a global solar resource map. So we see that the northern part is not really well endowed with solar resource. So solar resource cannot be really used economically to produce green hydrogen. Whereas in the Africa, Australia, southern part of Northern America and Southern America, India, Middle East, these are well endowed with solar resource. Here, this is the global wind resource. So when we take into account both these factors, then one can very easily say that all regions would not be able to really produce green hydrogen economically, because cost of renewable electricity is related to resource availability. The areas which are not really having good resource, they'll not be able to generate renewable electricity at cost competitive price. Some of the promising areas and countries for green hydrogen production based on resource availability would be Middle East, Africa, Russia, China, USA, and Australia. And the biggest markets, net importers of the green hydrogen, are going to be Korea, Japan, and large parts of Europe. Though the policymakers, government, they are putting a lot of emphasis that India could emerge as a hub for exporting green hydrogen, but maybe because of the markets where the green hydrogen would be required, India may not be able to compete with Northern Africa and Middle East for export to Europe, and with Australia for export to Japan and Korean market. Let us now discuss about growth of solar and wind power and how it is important. Total power generating capacity as on 31st March 23 was 416 gigawatt, of which 109 gigawatt was from solar and wind. The contribution of wind was 42.63 gigawatt and solar was 66.78 gigawatt. And during 22-23, about 15 gigawatt was deployed, of which wind contributed 2.27 and solar 12.78. Why I am discussing this is because deployment of 125 gigawatt power generating capacity would be needed up to 2030 for green hydrogen production alone. And if this capacity needs to be created, then the installation will have to be taken at unprecedented pace and scale. Whereas some of the countries like European Union, they have introduced a concept of additionality, that if green hydrogen is to be produced, then for that green hydrogen, a dedicated new renewable energy power generating capacity will have to be created. It cannot make use of the existing renewable energy producing capacity for producing green hydrogen. So that way, creating renewable energy power generating capacity is going to be a challenge. Then let us discuss about the electrolyzer technologies. Hydrogen production is really very, very energy intensive, and the efficiency of two prominent electrolyzer technologies, that is alkaline and proton exchange membrane, because these are the two technologies which are going to be deployed to large extent. These are highly energy intensive because the best efficiencies that are quoted for these technologies are slightly less than 70%. So in order to produce 1 kg of hydrogen, the energy requirement, depending on the efficiency of the electrolyzer, could be as high as 60 units of electricity. So the challenge is to bring down the this energy consumption by improving the efficiency of the electrolyzer. This is one cartoon which I came across. Definitely, when we talk of green hydrogen, we don't want to have this kind of a scenario. Okay. So that is not my purpose. The purpose is that water requirement for electrolytic hydrogen production, this is estimated as 20 to 30 liters per kg of hydrogen, though the DM water requirement in the electrolyzer would be of the order of about 10 liters per kg of hydrogen. This is raw water requirement. And in case the sea water is going to be used, then purifying that water would add about $0.1 per kg. And if we want to take that pure water from, say, coastal area to inner lands, then that will also add to the cost, and the transportation cost would depend on the distance. If you see this map, the areas which are shown in the dark red, these are the areas which are facing high to extremely high water stress. And unfortunately, these areas are the areas which are well endowed so far as solar resource is concerned. So this is going to be a challenge, that if we need to produce green hydrogen in these areas or even in the coastal areas, where from, okay, coastal areas can definitely purify the brackish water. But if we want to say have green hydrogen production units in Rajasthan, then this is going to be a great challenge. And then land requirement is another issue. That may not be issue in Rajasthan, etc., or Gujarat, because this is the kind of a 2 hectare to 1.5 hectare of land is required for installing 1 megawatt of these power generating capacities. Next issue is some materials that are required for making electrolyzer. For alkaline electrolyzer, nickel, steel, and aluminum, these are key elements. and the cost of the material itself is about 3.5% of the total cost. Whereas in the case of PM electrolyzer, platinum and iridium, these are two noble metals where the total cost is about 12% of the cost of hydrogen, total cost of the electrolyzer. And the resources for these noble metal are in very selected countries. For example, iridium, the main source is going to be South Africa, and platinum, South Africa and Russia. So once the demand increases, there could be volatility in the prices of these materials. And then it's quite possible that the cost of PM electrolyzer, rather than going up, rather than going down, may go up. Countries like India, which are going to depend on, say, import of these materials, they have to think that whether PM electrolyzer makes a right kind of a choice for it, or it would like to again have something similar as happened in the case of solar, where we provided our market on a platter to our neighboring country. Storage, transportation, and distribution. This is another challenge. Special materials are needed for construction of type 3 and type 4 cylinders, as I mentioned. Compression and liquefaction of hydrogen impose high energy penalties because a lot of energy is required for compression and liquefaction. And in the case of liquefaction, this could be as high as 30% of the energy of the hydrogen. Then absorption and desorption from liquid organic hydrogen carrier and ammonia, which are the two mediums which are being considered for intercontinental hydrogen transportation. These are also energy intensive. Cryogenic hydrogen during long distance transportation, this results in a boil off. So how to really make use of that hydrogen, or whether that hydrogen is going to be allowed to go in the environment, that is another issue. Hydrogen is responsible for embrittlement of storage, transportation, and distribution infrastructure. Here we can see that due to embrittlement, how this failure of this nut has happened. So this is something which the designers have to really think that which is the right kind of a material that needs to be used with hydrogen-based system. This is a most widely discussed kind of a accident that is related to safety of hydrogen, and this is relevant for user awareness. Hindenburg was a German passenger ship which met with the accident when it was landing in New Jersey, USA in 1937. And 35 passengers and crewmen, they lost their life when the ship got fire. And this fire was attributed to hydrogen, but later on, it was when the whole matter was investigated, it was found that accident happened because of something else, and hydrogen would have, say, aggravated the fire. So hydrogen got a bad name, but in the recent time also, there have been a lot of accidents associated with hydrogen. So user awareness is one issue which needs to be taken care of. And this could be one challenge while going in for large scale use of hydrogen. Levelized cost of hydrogen. Here I have tried to work out and find what could be the levelized cost of hydrogen for a 1 megawatt capacity electrolyzer, where the installed cost has been considered as $1,000 per kilowatt. O&M cost is 6% of the installed cost. Useful life of electrolyzer is considered as 60,000 hours. Overall efficiency of the electrolyzer 60%. Electricity cost as $40 per megawatt hour, which comes out as rupees 3.28 per kilowatt hour. Discount rate has been taken as 8%, capacity utilization factor 50%, and the levelized cost of hydrogen works out to about $3.63 per kg. When we do the sensitivity analysis, then it is found that if we are able to reduce the cost of electrolyzer from say 1,000 to 800, then this value comes to 3.35. And if it comes to 600, then it comes to 3.07. Another more significant aspect which influences the levelized cost is the electricity cost. So instead of $40 per megawatt hour, if we bring it down to $30 per megawatt hour, then value of levelized cost comes down to 3.07. And if it is $20 per megawatt hour, then it is $2.51 per kg of hydrogen. So sensitivity, the hydrogen cost is more sensitive to electricity cost and thereafter to cost of electrolyzer, and efficiency and capacity utilization factor, they also influence it, but not to that extent as the cost of electricity. So there is a lot of talk that the cost of hydrogen needs to be brought down to 1 to 1.5 kg of hydrogen. So if we have to achieve this kind of a goal, then the cost of electricity will have to brought down to $11 per megawatt hour, and this will be something equivalent to 1 rupee per unit of electricity, whereas presently the cost of electricity is about 3.5 rupees per kilowatt hour. So the real challenge is going to be how we are able to bring down the cost of electricity for green hydrogen production. If that does not happen, the cost of green hydrogen would not come somewhere near to this value. So summarizing the challenges, the cost of green low emission hydrogen production is high and it needs to be made cost competitive. Share of electrolytic hydrogen production in 2021 was about 0.1%. And the other issue is that it is growing at very slow pace. Maybe in the next 1 or 2 years, the pace becomes somewhat more fast. Relatively young age of existing industrial gray hydrogen production assets. It is believed that the industry, particularly refineries and ammonia synthesis units, they are going to be the key markets for green hydrogen. The gray hydrogen which they are using presently, that would be replaced by the green hydrogen. But because of the fuel standards, many of them have installed the hydrogen production infrastructure in the refineries recently, and these are very new. So whether these industries would really like to make a switch over to green hydrogen from gray hydrogen, that needs to be seen, unless and until there is some policy push by the government. Then choice of appropriate electrolyzer technology and availability of the key material, as I mentioned, that noble metals could be one serious challenge if we opt for PM electrolyzer, as we are dependent on import of platinum and iridium. Then indigenous production of cost competitive electrolyzer and BOP. Many industries, they have announced their plans for manufacture of electrolyzer, but the issue would be whether they would be able to produce it at a cost lower than the cost at which our neighboring countries are producing and selling it. Addition of renewable electricity generation capacity at unprecedented scale and speed. As I mentioned, that 125 gigawatt would be required for 5 million ton of hydrogen production by 2030. Then the most important is huge reduction in renewable energy electricity cost. Then strategies for promoting deployment of green hydrogen production system and creating demand for it. Some action has already been taken by MNRE in this regard. And other is creating demand for it. Maybe some positive development will take place in the form of having some kind of a mandate for green hydrogen for refineries and ammonia synthesis units, and subsequently for green steel making. Once that happens, then definitely there will be a lot of demand for green hydrogen. And this is also significant, domestic demand versus export, because government is putting a lot of emphasis on export, but we have to think that whether we are willing to export our renewable electricity and clean water to the markets like Europe and Japan, because water is going to be a precious commodity in the years to come. So I think the policymakers would have given enough thought to this particular aspect. But the most promising areas where solar electricity can be produced at a relatively low cost are not well endowed with water. So this is something which we have to ponder upon. So with that, I conclude my presentation, and I'll be happy to answer the questions.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nouni. I can see there are a lot of questions in chat box. Would you like to address some of them at least?
I'm not able to see the chat box, but if
Okay.
they are able to,
yeah. The first question was hydroelectric energy is not renewable energy. The answer is simple: yes. Hydroelectricity is renewable energy, certainly, and now even the large hydro projects are also brought in the ambient of renewable energy. So that is one thing. Essentially, somebody is asking about how seawater can be used for hydrogen generation. I'm sure you have covered that aspect, but that needs some additional expenses and things like that.
Okay. Lot of areas in our country itself, Chennai, etc., which have a lot of water shortage, and in the Middle East, they convert brackish seawater through RO system to potable water. And I indicated some kind of a cost associated for purifying that seawater. So if the facility is close to the coast, then that is not going to be an issue, because it will not put a lot of financial penalty. But if the purified water needs to be transported inside the land, then that is something which would have to be taken into consideration. Getting purified water from seawater is not an issue.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. I don't know who is here. Mr. Raman is saying it is a very good presentation, and thank you very much for all this information. He's saying SECI has taken out some RFP or RFS, or whatever he wants to write. Probably the request. The minimum capacity eligible for biomass to hydrogen is 500 tons of hydrogen production per annum. Is there any plant working in India at this order of capacity? I think he's referring to a biomass-based
See,
500 ton.
I can only share that what has been done so far as hydrogen production from biomass in India is concerned. One of the leading institution for hydrogen production from biomass gasification happens to be IISc, and they have gone in for oxy-steam gasification of biomass, and the technology which was developed by them under support from Eminari has been transferred by them for upscaling to R&D center of IOCL. Definitely, right now there is no such production facility, but we have the know-how and it can be upscaled.
Thank you, Dr. Nouni. Then another question is, what kind of a precious metals are required for AWE?
Oh, for alkaline, we don't need any precious metal, because I mentioned that the metals which are required are nickel, steel, and aluminum. It is only in the case of PM electrolyzer that we need platinum and iridium. In the case of alkaline water electrolyzer, no precious metal are required.
Right. Is it not possible to improve green hydrogen generation by using porous electrodes?
Oh, something is being done by different R&D people globally, and there are efforts to really find ways how we can improve the efficiency. And once we are able to do that, then probably the process could be made less energy intensive. So that is the need of the hour. That what are the different ways by which we can really improve the efficiency of the electrolyzers?
Right. Can these AE be stacked up to save some space?
Alkaline electrolyzers are the oldest, say, electrolyzer technology which has been there in the market for more than 100 years. And there are electrolyzers which are of several 100 megawatt capacity. So that is not an issue, that stacking up. Yeah, these are modulars, and the modular system can be put together like what we do in the case of PV.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Nouni. There are some more questions, but I think time is a bit short. In fact, it is very, very impressive. Your presentation has been very, very impressive, and it has really taken almost all aspects of hydrogen and green hydrogen. The only thing, since we have succeeded in achieving large capacities of solar and wind, probably that helps us in imagining that yes, green hydrogen would also take a very, very important shape. So once again, thank you very much. I don't think we have, yeah, once again there is a message, very, very impressive presentation. So on behalf of Skill Council for Green Jobs and all the audience here in this presentation, I once again thank you very much and hope that you will guide all of us in future also for clean hydrogen. PB, can you give a formal vote of thanks, please?
Oh, it has been my honor. It has been my honor. And I'll just put one additional observation here. PV, say, scaling up was relatively easier because there was only one dimension. Here it is a multi-dimensional kind of a technology where the contribution of renewable electricity cost is going to have a much more impact rather than bringing down the cost of the electrolyzer by going in for the economies of scale. So unless and until something revolutionary happens in the area of PV, and we are able to bring it down the cost of, say, PV electricity to, say, 1.5 or somewhere in that vicinity to the actual user, then what we are saying that $2 or $1.5, that will become a reality.
Yes, absolutely right. On the other hand, if the cost of other fuels goes high, then probably
Yes.
we
Yes, sure.
make a even off kind of a situation. So once again, thank you, Dr. Nouni. PB, please take
Sir,
over. Yeah.
sir. Yeah. First, I would like to thanks Dr. Nouni for accepting SCGJ invitation for this presentation. Thank you, sir, for the excellent presentation. It's very informative and knowledgeable. Hope all the participants are get benefited. Once again, thank you very much, sir. Now I would like to thank all the participants for their valuable presence and support. Thank you very much, all of you. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nouni.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.